There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recap Prediction Sports. Let go, show recap prediction sports
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recap Prediction Sports. Let go.
What is going on, everybody? It's the EVP from the EVP Show, and I'm live with your Raw Recap. Oh boy, WWE. You guys are crazy. Show is wild. As most people know that follow the internet, from WrestleMania last year, before Seth Rollins got hurt, the original plan was Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. Neither one of those matches were able to happen due to Seth's injury. So they made this King of the Ring tournament and have Obafemi win the tournament to basically forego his championship match. So they went all the way around the block twice, and just to keep Seth from winning the King of the Ring, to be predictable and still go back to Seth and Roman. And then obviously, fortunately, SmackDown spoilers are out. I mean, unless you just not on social media, Cody Rhodes is facing Sami Zayn next Monday on Raw in Chicago. Imagine that. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. Sami's not beating Cody twice in a row, so can't wait to listen to the cry next week. I'm actually surprised, to be honest with you. I didn't think Cody was going to win the title back this soon. But it looks like they're going straight back to the WrestleMania plans. They're going to do Oba Brock and Hell in a Cell. That's official. The poster's already out. Cody Punk. There's no way Punk's not showing up in Chicago Monday. Yeah, it looks like we're going to get Cody and Punk for the Undisputed Championship at SummerSlam. For you Sami Zayn fans, I tried to give you guys a warning. It was just a moment. He was never. I'm happy covering the women. All of this is such. I'm happy covering the women. All of this is such a waste of time. It is. It is, Kyle. It really is. I almost asked you if you wanted to come on since I came on early. Yeah, WWE. There was every single news outlet put out the spoilers for the King of the Ring tournament. I don't have 100% clarification that they, pivoted, but they did. I can tell you they probably pivoted. All for Obafemi to win the fucking King of the Ring and just give it up. But I mean, it makes sense. He wasn't beating Roman. Nobody cares to see Oba and Sami. That's a squash match. That would be like Brock and Kofi all over again. So the title is going back on Cody Rhodes. It is what it is. I listened to a podcast last night, and I mean, they were crying. They were so happy that Cody lost. I mean, get a fucking grip. Get a grip. You won't be crying next Monday, because I'm going to roast some ass on here next Monday. Believe that. You better unsubscribe is all I can tell you, because all the hate and bullshit I had to go through at Night of Champions, you guys are going to hear it. You want to come on, Kyle? You want to come on the show? Hold on. I'll send you the link. I'm going to bring Kyle on. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let me send you the link really quick. All right. Just give me a second. I'm going to send it to your Twitter. Let me change my thing. Yeah, it definitely can come on anytime, brother. Let's see. 2-man booth. I'm kind of looking a little weird right there. All right. Let me go to Twitter really quick. Sorry, guys, I'm still here. Whoops. Let's see. Let me find you, Kyle. Where are you, Kyle? I will find you. Let's see. Where are you, Kyle? Can't find you. Sorry, guys, I'm still here. I'm looking for Kyle on Twitter. There you are. All right, sending you a link right now, Kyle. Come on in. Let's talk about it. There you go, buddy. All right, sent you the link. Just come on in. I'll wait on you while I'm waiting on you. I'll go ahead and share that we're live. Let's talk about it. Can't wait to talk about it. Can't wait to talk about it. Sent you the link on Twitter, Kyle. Oh, there you are.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the Monday Night Raw Recap Show. This is Kyle. This is Kyle the Man Anthony. He's becoming pretty much a mainstay here on the EVP show. I'm sure I had a really strong hunch because I worked with him for so long. I mean, Kyle, you just gotta let me get it out, brother, because I tried to tell him. I tried to tell him, man. I'm not gonna spoil this. I don't know if you've seen this SmackDown spoilers. I'm not gonna say anything. It's not really. I'm gonna be honest with you, Kyle. It's not. I mean, there's.
Well, I kind of heard you a little bit already, which is fine. I mean, look, it is what it is. I mean, if what you know, with I mean, whatever. I mean, you know me, man. I don't really care about too much about the men as it is. So I mean, whatever. It is what it is. If it's gonna, I mean, it sucks, but I mean, I've lived through this before in the past where everything else. I mean, it doesn't really consume me. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry over it or be that. Like I'm a little like ugh, it's like a thing, but it's like I'm not like.
We got a couple of good things on the. I saw on the SmackDown spoilers. It looks like they are. You kind of nailed it. I believe it was on our. Maybe it was on our Night of Champions recap. It looks like we're starting to see a little bit of Charlotte's leaning a little bit more towards Tiffany. Alexa's trying to figure out what the hell is going on with Charlotte. Obviously, I believe it's either Lainey Reed or Fallon. I think it's Lainey faces Brie Bella. I'm happy for Fatal Influence that they didn't make them take another loss. And it looks like that's what they're building for. Is for Fatal Influence against the Brie Bella and Paige for the tag titles.
Again, Raquel. Well, I mean, I don't know. They already did before, but I mean, I was trying to think if it was for the titles or not. But I know they wrestled one SmackDown beforehand. But
yeah, well, no, it was a non-title, but it was just a singles match with Lainey Reed and Brie Bella on SmackDown. But let's talk about it, man. Before I start to dive into everything on Raw, I just welcome to the show. Tell everybody what you thought about Raw, and unless you want me just, I'm obviously gonna go through the segments and stuff, but you can just start off by just saying what you got to say. Like, I guess.
Well, I'll say this. I think for me that was the highlight for me that I enjoyed was two things. That was Io and Liv segment. Loved that. And I also loved actually it was three threes actually. It was Raquel and who did she face? I forget. It was actually right to winner to face Soul for the IC championship. So I did like that of Raquel winning that. So I did enjoy that, and I enjoyed the main event segment because I've been wanting to see Rollins and Reigns, for a while because they never had like a proper feud, and because they just had like random matches, and now we're gonna finally get one going into SummerSlam. So I am happy about that. So that's what I'm excited about. Those were really the only things I was excited about for tonight overall, or today, whatever.
So I got a couple of things I want to ask you, and then we'll get into the show, and then you can kind of give me your thoughts on each segment. So it's a question that obviously if I'm doing the show myself, I can only answer myself. So I would love somebody else's opinion. So we have Saturday Night's Main Event coming up, which is always a big event at Madison Square Garden. But now we have Obafemi and Brock Lesnar and Hell in a Cell. We also have Liv and Io, and Roman and Seth is already official, and we're not even at the end of June. They haven't not booked anything for Saturday Night's Main Event. So before we get into segment by segment, me and you had this conversation a week ago, and we had a very long, great phone conversation about the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring tournament. WWE completely saw everything online. Seth and Braun, I think, was the plan finals. They wanted to swerve, and then Oba wins the King of the Ring, declines the damn title match, and we go right back to Seth and Roman. And then on top of that, Kyle, what I've been telling everybody in the chat and at the beginning of the stream is what most people some people know, some people don't, but Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes and CM Punk were the planned two main events for this past WrestleMania, but Seth got hurt and he didn't come back until right before WrestleMania or whatever. So those two matches were scrapped, and that's where we're going. I mean, one of them's already official, and after Raw next week, because obviously Cody beat Jay on SmackDown, and he faces Sami Zayn next Monday on Raw for the Undisputed Championship. So your thoughts on the whole, Triple H trying to swerve because of leaks online, and they literally made like a victory lap just to get all the way back around to the original plan. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't know about that, but so I mean, in terms of the fact that happened for SmackDown, so it's like that's a whole other thing that I don't know if I have the energy to talk about that for this second, because it's like that's a lot of stuff happening there. Because I knew Jay said he's going to be on SmackDown or whatever about all of that, but I didn't know about any of that, honestly. So I don't know. I'm trying to.
Number one contenders match. Cody tried to walk away, basically. Cody came out there and congratulated Sammy. And then Jay come out. And then obviously the GM come out and told Sammy, like Sammy told Jay and Cody to get to the back of the line. Or something like that. Like Jay told Sammy like he's got to do this for the family or something like that. And Cody started making fun of him about it, I guess. And so the GM comes out and says, well, guess what, Sammy? Like, you're going to be facing Cody Rhodes next Monday. And here's the kicker, Kyle. It's in Chicago. So we know who's showing up at the end of the match. It doesn't take a source or a rocket scientist to figure it out. So what's your thoughts on everything that happened with Oba and the swerve to originally go back to the original plan? What do you think about that?
I hate it. I honestly just completely hate it because it's so lame. Because why in the world you put this guy in the tournament knowing that he was going to face Brock Lesnar in the first place, and knowing that you had him in this tournament in the first place? That's the part I just don't understand. If this was the plan all along, they could have had Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins at Night of Champions in the finals instead of a cage match. Yep. Same outcome. They would have the same result we got tonight, but they chose not to. Would have been the same exact situation. They could have had everything made sense, but he chose not to. They had him in the freaking tournament in the first place, and you not just that. You also brought up his name thousands and thousands of times, going in like from night one of this tournament, from every single week after it, after he qualified to be in the quarterfinals. It's like I watching this thinking to myself, Rollins didn't win because why? Why did Seth didn't win? Why did Braun Breaker didn't advance? Knowing that they were gonna have a blow. That was gonna be the blow off match anyway, clearly. And that would have made the most sense because they're already in a feud with each other. They already have issues with each other. It would have ended with one of them facing Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for an opportunity for a championship match. I just don't really understand why they decided to do what they did, and they're at the point where they could have had Rollins and Breaker in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
But had the same outcome. Instead of making some type of situation of saying, oh, this is for a number one contendership match type of thing, for the cage match is now a number one contendership match, even though it's not. We never said it's for a number one contendership match. But people have been saying that it's going to be. But yeah, it's just a regular cage match for nothing on the line. And people just made it, they just assumed it was a number one contendership match, even though it's not, because you said that it was. Just people say that online because they said that it was because they just want to say it, just because it's to help their narrative or their belief system to think that it's for a number one contendership. Yet we had Jey Uso and Obafemi, who the winner of that's supposed to face the world champion at SummerSlam, and yet people want to go around this narrative that the cage match is the de facto number one contender match for the winner at SummerSlam. What sense does that make?
Well, here's the thing, Kai, and like I said, I talked to you probably more than anybody else in the entire community. We talked about this at the beginning of the King of the Ring tournament. You know, when all these big news sources, and I even texted you and I called you that day. I said, prepare for a change. When Triple H and their social media team, when they see all that shit online, they're like, fuck that. Like, nope. We're swerving. Like we're not going to let the whole IWC know what we're doing, and prove to my statement, because people will come back, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's still in news or whatever the hell they want to say. Let's think about it. Everything you just said. Seth and Braun wrestled at Night of Champions in a cage match. Guess what? That was already the planned match for the King of the Ring finals. Guess what? Seth won. Guess what? Seth is facing Roman. If you don't need a damn source to put connect the dots, man. That was the original plan. But it goes back to Triple H and the social media team, and I'm gonna go to Stampede's comment in a second because I agree with Stampede. They work way too hard to avoid leaks. And me and you talked about this to wit's end. When all they had to do was run Seth and Braun in the finals at Night of Champions. They were already doing Seth and Roman anyway. They were already doing Punk and Cody. I mean, we talked about this. I told everybody. I clipped it on a short. It's on a short. Go back and look at my YouTube shorts. I said Sammy is not holding this title. I said there's no way he holds this title past SummerSlam. I didn't even think he was going to make it to. I thought he might make it to Saturday Night's Main Event, but I mean he's 100% losing next week. If anybody thinks he's beating Cody Rhodes 2 times in a row, then they are just really fucking.
Even that was a waste. Even that was a waste. This whole thing with Sami Zayn was a waste because I just assumed, but I thought I told you this before that when they made this when they were building up to this match or in general or just Sami Zayn as a whole. Well, lately the times that I was paying attention anyway from with the story with Sammy, I assumed that they were going to do Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, and it's going to lead to that. Like eventually, and that was going to be the championship match there, because of what Sammy's been doing and been saying throughout the last few months with this whole good guy narrative character he's been playing and has been played out all throughout the entire time of that feud between them two, and the fact that God was such a third wheel. I've been saying that every single week. And we see what he's going to be doing now, which is kind of not annoying, which is not interesting to me. It's like it could have just made it would have been a lot more. It would have been a whole lot simpler of them just saying Brock Lesnar, Obafemi, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Io Sky, Liv Morgan. They got that right clearly. And whatever they're going to do with Rhea Ripley or have a freaking or just start a new champ because Rhea decides not to show up at all because she's just nowhere to be found. And so it's I don't know. I felt that could have been a lot more simpler to do instead of doing these wines and tricks and all this other stuff. And it's like, come on, man. You had Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins at opposite sides of this tournament. Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker in the finals. How hard would that have been? You could have had Seth Rollins and Javon Evans in the semifinal. I mean, well, they were in the first round. Never mind, they were in the first round. But you know, well,
we could have got Ober and Braun in the semis, and that's where Brock could have showed up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could have kept Ober
that too. That could have been better too. You know, if it was going to be in the first round, could have been in the semifinals, and then that would have made more. And that would have made sense too because not only that of the Brock and Oba's history throughout this year started, but the tie-in with Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker of them still being together with the Vision scenario, that would have made the most sense. Could have got to the same place. This is what would have happened, but it could have done it a lot simpler. People wouldn't be complaining. I wouldn't be annoyed about this. I'm more annoyed than really upset because I love that we're getting Rollins and Reigns again because it's what I wanted. But I just wish that it just happened differently.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Kyle, the tournament, they put a women's world champion in the tournament. I mean, you can look at the pros, you can look at the cons. It all comes down to booking. They were waiting on Stephanie McMahon to come back. They really just didn't have a whole lot creatively for Liv to do, which at times like that, that's just the way the creative process works. It sucks. But when you go to the men's side, it's so fucking simple, Kyle. Like at the end of the day, it's so simple because you have Seth Rollins on one side of the bracket, like you said. You got Braun Breaker on the other. Who gives a shit what Sapp is posting? I love Sapp. I think Sapp's great. Meltzer, false finish reported it. Body slam. Everybody. I reported it. Fucking Zero reported it. Every news outlet out there reported it was going to be Seth and Braun in the finals. They see that and immediately they fucking change it. I called you that day. I said, guess what? We ain't getting Seth and Braun in the finals because it's been leaked. They're going to change it. I got people that I've DM'd about, they know that I told them. It's just so simple just to stick with the fucking plan. Who cares about leaks? Stop worrying about them. Like, who gives a shit at the end of the day, man? Like, You had an opportunity to do Braun and Nova in the semis. Brock could have cost him via count out or something. And then, I mean, we already have Seth and Braun at Night of Champions, Kyle. So that tells you right there that that was supposed to be the finals. I mean, it was a number one contenders match at the end of the day. So, like, it's the same thing. I think they completely shit all over the King of the Ring. I think the Queen of the Ring's okay, because they are, you know, continuing with Io and Liv. But as far as I'm concerned, they've shit on the King of the Ring tournament. And I guess if they want to swerve again, they could have CM Punk cost Cody Rhodes the championship Monday and do CM Punk and Sammy. But I can't. I don't think it's happening. I don't see it. Punk and Cody's a main event match. It's one of the last big matches. And by the way, Cody just signed a new 5-year deal. So he ain't going nowhere. I know I've seen a lot of speculation. He ain't going nowhere. That's just, if you're gonna put Roman Seth night 2, then you can do Oba Brock on ESPN, maybe to open the show, Hell in a Cell, and then do Cody Punk to end night 1, maybe Punk. But it's so the last thing I'm gonna ask you, and then we'll go to the comments, and then we'll start getting to some of these, you know, going through some of the stuff on Raw. Why are they changing the fucking title so much? Like, why not just let Cody hold it to SummerSlam and have Punk beat him? Like, it doesn't make any sense to put the title on Sami Zayn for 2 weeks. I mean,
you know, I don't know. I feel like I feel like the problem is, I've been seeing this a lot lately with the World Championship, is that this has been going on lately now ever since. Look, I'm not a fan of Reigns, but ever since Reigns has lost the championship, it's going back and forth. It's a little bit too much here, where they just put the title on Cody, then he put the title on Cena, then put the title back on Cody, then take the title off him, put the title on Sammy. It's like, oh my god, like back and forth.
Well, hold up, like so Cody lost the title to Cena, right? At WrestleMania, wins it back at SummerSlam. Cody drops on a random ass SmackDown to Drew to give him his
Drew
moment.
McIntyre, yeah.
Cody wins it right back, right before WrestleMania. Cody gives Sammy another moment in Saudi Arabia and is gonna win the fucking title back. It was I thought it was originally planned, and they changed it again. It was supposed to happen at Saturday Night Main Event, and then they moved it up to Raw because it's in Chicago.
Hey, why? I hate that narrative too. By the way, I really hate that narrative, because they're in their hometown, and when they're going to make the return of and make a big deal off of it. It's like, what? That's so stupid to me. I'm sorry. If he's destined to be on SmackDown, let it happen on SmackDown. Not because they're, you know, on a show that they're not on. So it's like, even, well, I guess technically Punk is still technically on Raw, but he's, I don't know. I just feel like.
Well, here's the thing.
I just feel like
I don't like the. Obviously, you know, I'm a Cody fan, but I don't like how they're doing it, though. Honestly, but I think that I don't know. My personal explanation for why they could be doing this is because they gave Sammy his moment. Sami Zayn is not a fucking SummerSlam main event. He's just not. And they got to find a way to be able to move CM Punk over to SmackDown with justifiable cause. And what more justifiable cause than to have him face Sami Zayn or Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, and you know, and then Raw is in Chicago, so he's showing up 100%. He could cost Cody the title. I could be 100% wrong. I doubt it. I doubt they're doing fucking Sammy and Punk, unless they plan on having Oba and Brock main event night 1. Then, but I still don't see Punk and Sammy opening a show. Like I think Punk's gonna want a main event against Cody. That's just a way bigger match. It's gonna help sell tickets. Sammy and Punk is not selling tickets. I mean, it'll sell some, but it's not going to sell like Cody and Punk. And so I don't know. It's a way to get.
They could do a
Punk
triple threat match.
They could. They very well.
Because I just feel like Sammy's not done with the story. I guess with whatever they're gonna do with him and I mean, even though I for some reason I just can't see him losing the title or not be in the title picture, whether he's still champion or not, because it'll feel like a complete waste of why you even have him in this situation in the first place. And then it's like you just build up Sami Zayn for nothing because it was just pretty much a holding pattern. It was just a holding pattern. It was a wait and see until Punk is ready to come back, and then you just resume the story you were telling. And then after WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, it's like, what was the point of this whole? What was the point of Sami Zayn? And it's like of ever being in this position. It feels like it was such a waste. And again, just because they're in Saudi Arabia, a country that people love him in for some reason. I just hate this narrative that even though he's not from Saudi Arabia, I just really hate that narrative. Is that because they're their hometown, he had to be treated, or because they are accepted in a country that people like him in, they automatically should be getting special treatment because they're from that place. I don't know, man. I just don't like that narrative, honestly, because
I agree.
They even did that with Finn Balor earlier this year when they were in Ireland. And where's Balor done? A whole lot of backstage segments with Damian Priest when he kept trade over to SmackDown. He only had one match on SmackDown, and then he's never had, and haven't been seen since in the ring. It's been all backstage, leading to what?
You know what?
That was a waste.
You know what? You know what's even funnier to me is Triple H and WWE Creative had me fooled, because I actually, for a second, thought that Jey Uso, or for a long time, I thought Jey Uso was winning the King of the Ring, and he's going to go from possibly, which he lost the #1 contender match to Cody, so he ain't getting no title shot. Now if we'll get to it here when we start covering the matches and stuff from Raw, but it looks, for me, it looks like it's going to be either Jay versus LA Knight or Jay and Jimmy against fucking LA Knight and Solo. He goes from possibly winning.
What a fall, dude! What a fall from grace.
What are we doing, bro? Like, but anyway, I don't want this show to take as long as the other one did, because I know you're on the East Coast, so it's already 11:30 your time. So we're gonna go ahead. We'll go ahead and go to the comments. Raymond says hello. Stampede, the swerves the WWE are doing make them look very incompetent. I 100% agree. Your thoughts on that, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, look, man, I don't know. I feel like it's they do this so many times. They do this more with the men and less with the women, which I so love. This is why I love covering the women's division, because it's so easy to just to follow and just to be like, thank you, something that makes sense. Getting matches that make sense, even if it's matches I don't really care for. At least it makes sense for the story they were telling from before in the past. At least with what they did, Tiffany and Jade, at least it made sense because they were feuding with each other before. And it's like, I don't know, it makes sense what they're doing with the women. It's why I love covering it now. Like,
yeah, it's great. It's great. Thank you, Stampede. And I agree. They need to stop worrying about leaks and swerves and shit. It's ridiculous. Raymond says, now that makes me happy that the GOAT Cody beat Jay on SmackDown, and he's going on to face Sami Zayn next Monday, and Cody is getting his title back. And that looks like that is exactly what is going to happen. Thank you, Raymond.
And here's the thing, though, too. If this was Becky, honestly, I was trying to think about this, because if this was Becky in the same situation, because I guess we could say it a little bit in a way in 2019 when she was forced to give up her championship, and then they gave her back over to win a match over Charlotte at Fastlane for no reason, even though she won the Royal Rumble. It's kind of what reminds me about it here. That I mean, I would have been, I still would have been pissed off, and I was pissed off when they did what they did, because I thought it was completely unnecessary. So I mean, even though I mean, even though you're a Cody fan, this first year, you have to feel some sort of like annoyance of the fact that they did what they did, and it was like could have been a lot simpler. So
I am shocked that it's this soon. I did think Cody would probably win it back at SummerSlam. We talked about it already. I didn't think it would be this soon, but it does let me know exactly also what we talked about. And all this was Sami Zayn has had 10 world title chances, and WWE finally said, okay, well, we're going to, he's already main evented a night, WrestleMania 39, night 1, and won the tag titles. We're going to give you your big moment. And Saudi Arabia is obviously pushed up from Mania 43 to Night of Champions. So that's all it was. It sucked for Sami. It sucked for his fans. But at the end of the day, TKO is about money, and they're about selling tickets for SummerSlam. They got to sell tickets for SummerSlam. And Cody and Punk is a fucking huge match, whether you like Cody, whether you like Punk. People say, oh, well, EVP, it don't need the title. Well, guess what? It don't, but it does need the title, because I don't think Punk's going to want to face Cody without the title. Did you listen to Punk's last promo to Cody? I'm coming after the title. Opportunity just going to fall from the sky. Well, guess what? Opportunity is going to fall from the sky Monday. So there's that. But yeah, I do agree. Like it sucks. It does suck a little bit that it's this soon, but I'm not surprised. I mean, Cody dropped to Drew only for like a month or 6 weeks or something like that. So, but we'll go to next. Stampede. He said to do this to Sami is deplorable. It is deplorable. I won't disagree with that, but I just at the same time I can't say I'm surprised. It's all about money and selling tickets for SummerSlam. Your thoughts on that, Kyle?
I mean, to be honest, I'm not really all that high on Sami or even Cody. So I don't have any. I mean, it does suck. I'm not gonna be really crawling or really being upset too much about it, because it's like whatever. I just ignore it, because I just focus on that too much, because I don't really care too much, honestly. So
absolutely. All right. So thank you, Stampede. Raymond says Seth versus Roman is going to cook at SummerSlam. Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I really can't wait for that match. I've been waiting for it for a long time, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see the build up to it, heading into it. I'm looking forward to it, honestly.
I think it's going to be a great match. I think it'll be just as good as him and Punk's, but the only thing I don't like about it, it is very predictable on who's going to win.
But I mean, I get it, but I mean, at least it's a proper, at least could be a proper build instead of it happening randomly on Raw and not really. And they were going to do it, but then he couldn't because Seth got hurt, and then or they did do it at 2016, but it was one off, and he never went back to it since. It was like so it's kind of the same thing here. Again, it's kind of doing the same deal like they did 2016, where it's a one off to do it, and they're not going to go back to it again. But at least they'll have a launch. So, I don't really fully remember the build to their match for Money in the Bank 2016. Honestly, I don't really remember, but I do remember a little bit, because they even factor in Dean Ambrose, so it wasn't fully, because we all kind of figured that he was going to win Money in the Bank. So it was at that point. So it was like, okay, well, we kind of figure where that's going. So now here, at least it'll be just the two of them, and they have a long time to build it up from now till SummerSlam. That's all the way till beginning of August. So there's a whole month to build it up. So I'm looking forward to it. So it'll be a lot better than it was. Well, I won't say better, but the build will be better than it was in 2016.
Yeah. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Raymond. Stampede. And what makes WWE look even worse is AEW just did a men's and women's the Owen Hart tournament, and both of them knocked it out of the park. They did. That I definitely agree with that 100%. Stampede, you may want to send me the prediction for AEW. I don't even know what my record was, honestly. I didn't get to finish watching. I have to go back and watch the last few matches, but thank you for that. Raymond says QB1. Yeah, it looks like QB1 is going to be back in control next week. Stampede said, and all of those title reigns, none of them have delivered. I agree. Even being a Cody fan, I don't. It's been the same story with Drew, with Gunther. I think Gunther is done. I think I don't. Can he recover? Yeah, but I don't know how.
I don't know why they keep putting the title on Cody Rhodes, because every single time he holds that championship, it's not interesting. It's just not interesting every single time. I don't know. I don't know. It's because the fact they're so credible challengers, or just he's just not a really good. He's also a babyface, so I mean, it's also hard to build a babyface champion. So
it's extra. That's the problem that people really can't grasp is Cody is just another John Cena. It's people are going to get fatigued. People got the Cody fatigue, just like they got the John Cena fatigue. But you also have
basically still get cheered. It's just amazing he's still getting cheered, because it's like even though I wasn't that high on John Cena as a kid, he was always getting booed. Like I told you so many times, I grew up watching Rey Mysterio and John Morrison, and with the High Flyers, I know Cena was there, but he wasn't my person. So when I was more into Randy Orton than I was John Cena. I don't, because he was on SmackDown majority of the time, and Cena really never was. And so it's just that it's so weird that he's getting cheered, and he's getting the John Cena treatment, but he's getting cheered, and no one is crapping all over him, which is really interesting. What makes I don't really get to see this Cody Rhodes narrative that he comes back from AEW and he's beloved all of a sudden out of nowhere when he was freaking Stardust and Dusty Cody Rhodes, all this stuff. I know, but
I think it has a lot to do with the finishing of the story. Obviously, he finished the story, but truthfully, Kyle, like me and you talked about the other night on Night Champions Recap. At the end of the day, people are going to get Cody fatigue, but we can't just point the finger at Cody Rhodes. We also have to point the finger at creative, because every time he got the title, they book him into the same bullshit ass storylines where he beats somebody and then they get a fucking attorney, or they go and cry, or complain that they were done unfair. So like the only storyline he's really had, truthfully, that was worth the shit since he's won the title was with Kevin Owens. I think that was a fantastic storyline with Cody and Kevin. I would love to see them go back to that. But yeah, that's the reason. I mean, it's not. I hate it when everybody just completely puts it all up on Cody, when there is some to it with Cody, because he is a regular white face baby face. He's John Cena 2.0. So people are going to get the Cody fatigue, but it's also creative too. So it's both of them, honestly. So Raymond says, I just don't understand all these changes over and over again. That's because Triple H doesn't like leaks. That's just the only reason for that. And honestly, it should be Punk versus Cody at SummerSlam. That would be fire. I agree. I think that's the biggest match, one of the biggest matches that WWE can still do with Cody and with Punk. So I agree. Stampede says, I grew up watching Bruiser Brody, Dusty Rhodes, Nature Boy Ric Flair, Terry Funk, and the Von Erichs. All absolutely legends in the business. So Stampede has been watching some. I love Dusty. I love Bruiser Brody. I love Ric Flair, Terry Funk, and I love the Von Erichs as well. So thank you, Stampede. One more comment, and then we will get into Raw. Sorry, Kyle. I didn't know we were going to get this many comments, and we have 150 people watching us already, so we might set a record tonight. Is it true that Cody will face Punk at SummerSlam? I believe it is. I don't want to give you 100% clarification, but I would tell you it's probably about 95% that Sami Zayn drops the title on Raw next Friday to Cody Rhodes, and we get Cody and Punk. I could be dead wrong. Punk could be heel. He could come back as a heel and cost Cody, and it could be Cody, Punk, and Sami, but I just don't see it. WWE's thinking about ticket sales. And Cody Punk was the original plan for the last year's WrestleMania, but they had to pivot everything around due to Seth's injury. So I do think that that's exactly what the hell they're doing. Is they're running the planned WrestleMania matches from last year back at SummerSlam because it's a 2-night event. I would be 100% shocked if it's not Cody Punk night 1 main event and Roman Seth on night 2. That's where we're going. I do believe Sami Zayn drops the title next Monday on Raw in Chicago, where Punk is 100%. I will tell you, Punk is 100% showing up Monday. So thank you, Ariel. All right, so let's get into it, Kyle. Tonight's Raw, June 29th, 2026. It's from the Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. Let's go ahead. We're going to kind of skip around. So we're going to get Chad Gable going one-on-one to Judgment Day's JD McDonough, a WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio versus All Ego Ethan Page. The Bloodlines, Big Jim, Jimmy Uso versus the Megastar LA Knight. WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the OTC, Roman Reigns makes his return. We get oh my God. Another live musical performance by Joe Henry. They don't have anything else for him to creatively, but for him to do a fucking concert. 2026 King of the Ring winner Oba Femi kicks off the show. We'll hear from 2026 WWE Queen of the Ring winner Io Sky. So show opens up with a video package. Michael Cole and Corey Graves are on commentary. We get Oba Femi out there. We're just going to run through it pretty quick, Kyle, and then once we get through a segment, you can give your thoughts. If you have any, if you don't, we'll move on. So Oba grabs the mic. He starts off by saying he is good and fine. Oba then says he appreciates the reception from the WWE Universe. Oba then says that a reaction befitting the ruler. Femi then says now the WWE Universe has to give him a reaction befitting of a king. Oba then gloats about winning the King of the Ring. He says he told Jay that destiny was on his side, and Jay didn't believe until he stepped into the ring with him. Oba Femi then says his destiny is still not finished with him. Oba then says a choice has to be made. Oba, 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 the fans chant. Then we get to Beast Incarnate. He never showed up for King of the Ring or Night of Champions. He comes out with Paul Heyman. Lesnar applauds Oba, likely for winning the King of the Ring. Lesnar then takes the mic from Paul Heyman. Lesnar then introduces the WWE Universe to the 2026 King of the Ring winner, Oba Femi. Lesnar congratulates Femi and says he was a King of the Ring once upon a time. Lesnar then says he can help Femi with his decision. Lesnar then says Femi has been calling him names. Lesnar then says talk shit and get hit. Lesnar then low blows Oba Femi and hits him with an F5. And then Oba Femi gets back up. Wow, that was pretty interesting there. Oba Femi then gets back on the microphone after getting F5 and says, "This is exactly what you do, Brock." He said, "You always hit and run." And then he calls Brock Lesnar the B word. Oba Femi then says he wants to settle the score at SummerSlam. Lesnar accepts the challenge, but says he will only do it under one condition, and that will be Hell in a Cell at SummerSlam. Your thoughts on that, Kyle?
Be fine if we have a good match. I just again the logic and the fact that at this point I thought for what I've heard so many times for a prediction that they were going to do. My fear almost happened where I thought they were going to do two matches at once. Never a million years I thought he's going to say, "I forget about a championship match that I earned for SummerSlam in a stadium. I'm going to just face Lesnar in a Hell in a Cell match just because." I never would have thought that. That was the last that I assumed, but it's like, again, like I said earlier, if this was the plan, they should never had Oba Femi in the tournament. That's just where it comes down to. It was fine, but I was already, by this point, I was like, ugh. When I heard Lesnar's music, I was like, ugh. So it's like, I was already like, this was a waste of time. And it got worse throughout the night. I was like, okay, this was a waste of time of having him win King of the Ring. What a waste. 100%. As the night went on, so
100%. At the end of the day, Kyle, it all boils down to Oba really should have never won the King of the Ring if he wasn't gonna to I mean, he wasn't beating Roman. He wasn't beating Roman anyway, but I guess he could have picked Sammy. But the plan was never for Oba to win a title right yet. So why did they have him win the fucking tournament? Like that's it just doesn't make any sense. And then go right back to Seth. So yeah, I didn't like it. But I'll look forward to this feud finally being over with. I knew Brock was going to have a match in Minneapolis, and it's going to be in a Hell in a Cell, so they're going to beat the hell out of each other. So I look forward to that. So we're moving on. So we see the rivals at Io Sky, Judgment Day, the Street Profits, Joe Henry, and LA Knight. We see Paul Heyman with Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce wants to know what the hell is going on. Paul Heyman says the match of all time is set for SummerSlam. Austin Theory then shows up, and he is surprised Paul Heyman is here. Austin Theory then asks Heyman to come out with him for his match. Heyman tells Theory now he knows that he is here. Pierce then stops Oba Femi in the back, and he wants to make sure he heard Oba right. Oba then says the title will be there. He said the title will be there, which I don't know. I don't know what the hell that means. I guess he's talking about like.
I think he meant that the fact that the championship match will always be there at a different date at another time or whatever, and that's the thing that someone said that he's gonna get a championship match at some other time. It's like I don't know. That wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah. So Oba says that the title will always be there. Oba then says he will take the title when he wants it. I don't know about that. Adam then asks if Hell in a Cell is what Oba wants. Oba then says it needs to happen. Oba then says he will put an end to it, and it needs to end at SummerSlam and Hell in a Cell. We've kind of already touched on that. It's going to be a hell of a match, but the way they got to it was absolutely terrible. Just terrible creative. So then we go to the next match. It's going to be All Ego Ethan Page, who, for me, Kyle, him coming up from NXT, being a huge star down there, NXT, started off really strong, had the really, really good match against Penta at Saturday Night's Main Event. For me, he just kind of went downhill.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I thought he'd do stuff with him and Rusev, and clearly not. I don't know what the plan is for Ethan Page moving forward. He's just been not winning matches and not even really given a chance to talk neither. And it's like, I don't know what the plan is for with Ethan Page. It's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, 100%. So Ethan, he makes his way down to the ring. He's going to face Rey Mysterio. I'm not gonna go through the entire match. We'll just kind of get to the ending, and then if you have any comments, we'll comment on it. It wasn't a terrible match. But Rey Mysterio positioned Ethan Page for a 619, and he hits it. And then Rey Mysterio then goes up top and hits the frog splash for the 1-2-3, and Rey Mysterio defeats Ethan Page. So where are we going with Ethan Page? Obviously, my original thought was maybe they put him in a triple threat with Penta, which I didn't see Penta tonight. If I did, maybe I'm blind.
Nope.
Yeah, he wasn't on the show. So are they going to put Ethan in a triple threat with Penta and Chad Gable at SummerSlam? Because I know Chad Gable's going to be going for that IC title. At this point, I don't know what they're doing with Ethan. You have any thoughts on Rey Mysterio beating Ethan Page?
No, but I just think it should be a straight up singles match at this point. I think that would make the most sense. I don't think anyone else should be involved if they do that match between Penta and Gable. But yeah, I feel like when it comes to Ethan Page, it's just really disappointing. This guy's a former NXT champion, was held the North American Championship for a good long time, and he's mute. He's not cutting any promos. He's not in a major. He's not in a mostly major feud, but he's not in any interesting feuds. He's just in these random matches that don't really mean anything. And it's like I'm watching this and I'm like, this is not what I expected him to be doing at this point. I thought he was going to be the one to take the title off of Penta, by now,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not. So I don't know what to do with either pace moving forward. I won't be surprised if he's not going to have a match at SummerSlam. He may not, because he's not doing anything incredibly interesting now.
Yeah, I don't think he will either. I agree with you. I think that he had a lot of momentum even after the loss at Saturday Night's Main Event, but now it's just kind of like he's stuck in the vortex with Rusev and Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio. No disrespect to them, but you bring in somebody up from NXT, and I don't know. I don't know what they do with them. I don't think he has a SummerSlam match either. So then we go to Danhausen's lab, and we see Dominic Mysterio in a New York Knicks jersey. And JD McDonough tells Danhausen that he wants their money. JD then says he needs to get encouraged before his match tonight against Chad Gable. Dominic then takes something to Danhausen's to send him a message. Any thoughts on all of this stuff that goes on with Danhausen and Dominic and JD?
Liv Morgan needs to get away from this. Honestly, Liv Morgan needs to get away from this. I have no idea why this woman is still a part of this at this point right now. She should never nothing to do with this at all. Danhausen is such a comedy low card act. Liv Morgan is the women's champion who has no credible challengers, and that sucks with her. I have no interest on what they're doing with whatever they're doing with Dominic and Jada is a waste of time. I don't really care. It's pretty sad to see Dominic was in a big storyline with Liv and Rhea 2 years ago, and this is what they're doing with him 2 years later. That's pretty sad. And Liv Morgan is better than this. Roxanne Perez is better than this. Why are they both tangled in the Judgment Day vortex? Especially Roxanne, because she's been mostly silent. I know they're doing a slow burn with her and Liv. I get that, but it's just this is not going to be helping me of being invested into a match that they are teasing, but it's taking a little too long. I'm actually going to do Roxanne and Raquel. I mean, Liv and Raquel first, I'm guessing, but I don't know. I feel like the women need to get away from this. All three of them get away from this because at the end of the day, they are the stars that are making the group interesting still. But I'm not interested in the group at all. Dominic and JD, don't care. Please get Liv away from this. This is so beneath her.
I agree. That's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I can see maybe JD and Dominic because they, Dominic is just really stalling time until Triple Mania where he loses the title to El Grande Americano, and they really don't have a direction for Dom right now, unfortunately. But I mean, to have all three of the ladies that really have a lot going on for them, and I think that they're going to probably continue this bullshit. Hopefully they don't. That's not the reason Liv loses the title at SummerSlam. It's because she's cursed, and then obviously Raquel. We'll talk about that in a minute. She's got an Intercontinental title match coming up with Soruka, so we'll see how it all plays out. But hopefully they get the hell away from this whole. I don't hate Danhausen, but I don't like the champions and stuff being involved. So we'll get to the next segment. Joe Henry, he comes out. He grabs a mic. He starts off by saying he has appeared. Joe then asks who's ready for the concert. He then says he can't get started until he introduces a special guest, and he brings out the WWE World Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits. Montez Ford says he looks good in a suit, and the Street Profits are so overwhelmed by the support. WWE Universe has shown since last week. Montez then says they have a few people to thank. He thanks the WWE Universe. Montez then calls Seth Rollins the greatest of all time. Wow, that was quite a statement there from Montez. And he puts him over for helping. Well, I mean, it was just a show of respect. I do respect that. He said that he helped him deal with the Vision. Angelo Dawkins then says karma caught up to the Vision. Montez Ford then puts over Joe Henry. Henry then asks everyone to make some noise since they got the new World Tag Team Champions. Henry then says there will be no Brian Breaker, and they won't have to hear Logan Paul talk. Joe Henry then says there will be no Paul Heyman since he is occupied with Brock. And then Joe Henry then plays his song. Austin Theory then makes his way out, and he accuses them of stealing his World Tag Team Championship. Austin Theory then says he talked to Adam Pearce, and he got themselves a rematch for the World Tag Team Championships next week. Austin Theory then threatens to destroy Joe Henry. Henry then says he wants to fight Theory since he interrupted his concert. And it looks like we're getting a match right now. So your thoughts on a rematch with Brian Breaker and Austin Theory against the Street Profits next week on Raw for the tag titles?
If I'm Breaker, I'm like, why am I still teaming with this guy? If I'm Breaker, I'm thinking to myself, I'm just going after tag team titles again at this point, which I guess it makes sense because what else is there for him to do at this point when everyone else is when Rollins is occupied now with Roman Reigns? I guess I mean that's kind of fall from grace for Braun Breaker now at this point, where it's like he was in a cage match with Rollins and now he's back to being a tag team again, and it's like I don't know. They took the titles off of them last week. Made me believe that Breaker was going to be in some type of interesting storyline moving forward or something that involves him to being back to being a single star, but that's not. I don't know what the plan is. Or is it going to end up being? I know the plan probably is going to. I know Breaker's probably going to turn babyface soon. Maybe that's the plan. But like, are they going to do what Braun Breaker, the Austin Theory on Raw? God forbid a pay-per-view. Hopefully not a pay-per-view, but I mean that's fine. But I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not interested in it. I'm sure they're going to lose next week anyway, and then maybe that's when he can beat the crap out of Austin Theory and then go off in a separate ways. And then what Theory's doing with Maxine, still don't know. Still really not really sure where that leads. What's the end goal? What's the point of that? Still don't know. Still don't get it. It's very weird, very odd. So I mean, everything to do with Theory, I'm not really understanding, and it's like been a complete waste now because now Heyman said that I'm done with you, or I'm not interested in what you're doing. So it's like, again, why did put in so much time in Austin Theory when clearly they don't have any clear direction for him to do? And Heyman, to be fair, with Maxine at this point, even too, you have her interacting with him for weeks, and this was lead to what? Nothing incredibly interesting, I guess. I mean, I don't know what we're doing here. It's such a waste, and get a Breaker away from here, you know.
Any chance you think Bronson Reed may show up next week?
It'd be nice, but I mean, we thought he was going to show up they did already cage match on Night of Champions, and he didn't. So I mean, if they're maybe they're holding off till SummerSlam. Maybe I don't know because Sissy, I guess because Sissy lost weight and he probably wants to gain muscle strength or whatever, stuff like that. Maybe they're holding off with Reed at SummerSlam, maybe because that's where he makes his return, I'm guessing.
Yeah, very likely. The tag divisions are just shot, man. I don't know what they're gonna do with them, but yeah, I don't really have much. But that is a tag team chat. We're gonna get 2 title matches next week. Obviously, Cody and Sammy on Raw, which Cody hasn't been on Raw in a while. And then the Street Profits will defend again against Austin Theory and Braun Breaker, and I'm sure that Joe Henry will be out there, probably Logan Paul as well. So.
The last time Sammy was on Raw was in 2022, I believe, wasn't it? Or 2023 when he was part of the Bloodline stuff. So that's really the last time he was on Raw.
Yeah. So Austin Theory and Joe Henry had a match. Both men trade strikes in the middle of the ring. Joe Henry then he hits Austin Theory with a standing ovation for the 1, 2, 3. So Joe Henry scored the pinfall victory over Austin Theory. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, I cannot believe. I mean, I guess they needed to do it for Joe because all he's been doing is concerts. But he pinned Austin Theory and he beat him clean. So, any thoughts on that?
No, not really. I mean, it happened. It's probably going to lead to nothing. Probably lead to another rematch or something with them two again, I guess. But I mean.
Do we get
more comedy acts?
We know where this is leading, though. We do, or I do. I mean, I would think you do as well. But when Logan Paul gets back, I mean, it's obviously leading to Joe and Logan. Like it, that's concerts about him. So we'll move on though. So we see Adam Pearce in the back, and he's with Raquel Rodriguez. Rodriguez says she wants a shot at the women's Intercontinental title. Adam Pearce says she's not the only one looking for an opportunity. Raquel Rodriguez will face Maxine Dupree tonight. Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez then walk up to Rodriguez and ask her if she has a title match. Rodriguez then says it's a done deal. Liv Morgan then complains about Danhausen. Oh my God. Raquel then tells her not to worry about Io Sky since she has her back. Io then hugs Raquel and semi-hugs Roxanne. Your thoughts on that segment?
So it was cool to see that Raquel's going to be, getting it's going to be faced in Soul. Soul needs something to do. She's been complete afterthought. She's rarely been on the show, and she's like, where's Soul? She kind of like disappeared, and so I'm happy about that. Still doing the tension between Liv and Roxanne. We saw it again with her just looking very uncomfortable, honestly, and it's like, okay, this would have benefited had Money in the Bank been now or July instead of freaking October, because you have to wait all the way till then. Whatever, but I mean, like the match wasn't really all that interesting, really. We kind of figured that Raquel was going to win, so to do the match at some point between Soul and Raquel, maybe it'll happen at Saturday's main event. I can see it happening there, but Soul's going to probably retain. What does Soul do heading into SummerSlam? I have no clue. My thought is that they were going to do probably Soul and Roxanne, but Roxanne still was stuck in the Liv stuff, so I don't know how I'm going to track that out. I guess they can still do the match and Raquel lose, or Roxanne lose, and then that can lead to Liv being done with Roxanne and beat her up. I guess maybe that could still happen. But I don't know. Maybe.
I think so. Will be. She's gonna beat Raquel. I think it's gonna have some bullshit to do with Danhausen. I really do. I hate it, but I do. For SummerSlam, I really, and we talked about this before, but Lyra just turned heel. I think that. I think that's where they're going. I think we're gonna get a heel Lyra versus Soul, and we possibly could get a title change, because I mean, why? I don't want that. But why would they turn Lyra heel and then just have her just drop the first match? Like, I wouldn't do that, because that just makes Lyra look really weak and makes her like a geek kind of. And they turn her heel and then give her an Intercontinental Championship match just to lose. So and they did a video package with her. So I don't know, but they may not, because they may end up doing Lyra and Bailey. Because obviously she turned her back. We could get Roxanne and that makes more sense.
That match could either happen at Saturday's main event or SummerSlam, which I'll be fine with, because it'd be cool to see a women's match that's a non-title match. I mean, that's a grudgy personal issue going into SummerSlam. That'll be cool. But then that happens, what does Soul do? It's like, I don't know. My first theory was going to be Roxanne beforehand, but maybe that's not happening because of the Roxanne Liv's tension. But then it's like, but Liv's could be occupied with Io, so it's like, so what does Roxanne do? You would think she'll have a match at SummerSlam. So like I said, maybe she does face Soul at SummerSlam but loses, and then Liv loses at SummerSlam, let's say, and then they can just do the feud between Liv and Liv and Roxanne, non-titled, in some type of grudge feud. At the end of the year, heading into Money in the Bank, maybe they're both in the ladder match. I can see that. Maybe they'll do their singles match at WrestlePalooza if that's happening again, and then stuff that's very serious or whatever. So I can see that happening. But I still think Roxanne's still winning that briefcase though, and but the feud with Liv and Roxanne will definitely happen. Like late summer, early fall. So I still believe that.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. So we see Io Sky walking backstage. We see Kathy Kelly. She with Ethan Page. Ethan reflects on his loss against Ray. He calls it a minor setback. Ethan then says he had no time to prepare. Ethan then says he had no time to be his best. Ethan then says he will keep his promise and he will be draped in gold. I think that kind of remains to be seen. So we'll move on. There's not really much to cover on that. 2026 WWE Queen of the Ring winner Io Sky's music hits. She makes her way down to the ring. Io then grabs a mic and starts off by saying she is grateful to come back to the U.S. She then says she wears the crown and calls herself Queen. Io then cuts the promo in Japanese. Io then says she promises to beat Liv Morgan again and become the Women's World Champion again at SummerSlam. And then we hear trouble, trouble. Liv Morgan makes her way out, and she gets on the microphone. She says she thought Sky was better than this. Liv Morgan then says she can't believe Io is bragging about her win. Liv then says she got cursed by Danhausen, which is why she lost at Night of the Champions. Liv then says things will be different at SummerSlam. Liv Morgan then says she doesn't respect Io. Liv then says that Liv then reminds Io what happens when you get on her bad side. Liv Morgan says Finn Balor was turned on by his own group. Liv Morgan then says Stephanie Vacour. She name dropped Stephanie Vacour. I think she could play a role in that SummerSlam match is what I really think. Is nowhere to be seen. Liv Morgan then says she took everything from Rhea Ripley and she hasn't been the same since. Liv Morgan then says she will remain the greatest women's world champion of all time. Liv Morgan then says Io Sky is in trouble and we see all the Judgment Day members draped up on the apron. Io Sky pins up the all of them. Then Liv Morgan goes for the Oblivion, but Io Sky countered with the German suplex. Io then hits a kick. Io Sky then heads to the top rope, but Raquel trips her. Roxanne Perez then joins the fray and launches a 3-on-1 attack. Roxanne and Raquel then pull Io Sky to the mat. Liv Morgan hits the Oblivion. Liv Morgan then cinches it. She's went to this new move that she beat Charlotte with. She cinches in a single leg crab, and Io Sky immediately taps out. And officials and referees come to the ring to pull Liv off of Io. Io is favoring her knee, and the Judgment Day leaves. Your thoughts on that segment? Because Liv's going.
I loved it. Move. One of the this is one of the best things on the entire show for me. I love this. I love this new move that Liv has done having in our arsenal now with the half crab lock, leg lock. It's cool. It's cool because she never really had a submission hold before, really. So even though she did the Razor Saturn before, but this is a fresh new hold for her to do. Holding submission for her to do, and I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to their. I was hoping that their feud was going to be a lot better going into it than them just randomly having the match because they were both in the Queen of the Ring tournament. So I'm happy about this. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. I'll be intrigued of what type of help, if any, that Io's going to have. Because Jesus has the numbers game is not in our favor. So like, who will come? Maybe this may be a little bit out there, but maybe Bailey probably helps her out. At some point, maybe not, but based on their history,
Stephanie,
I don't know, but maybe even Soul, because with Soul and Liv's history before they had that one match together, which I want to see more of. So maybe that's going to probably be the play at some point, maybe coming out of SummerSlam. I don't see going into it. So I feel like at some point, if they're gonna But also it depends how long Judgment Day's going to last for, if how long Liv's going to be part of the group. So, I mean, I say this now, but I'm not sure exactly how long they're going to be a group for. So it's, I don't know, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. Looking forward to their match, and I'm just happy Liv is in something interesting, heading into SummerSlam, and in a feud that I'm intrigued of and something I've been wanting to see for a long time now between Io and Liv. So happy Liv is doing something. I'm happy Io's doing something, because with Io not having a WrestleMania match, they'll finally do something for SummerSlam. It's good for both of them, because they both need something to do, and they have each other. They are both great together in the ring, and I'm sure in the feud so far, starting from tonight, it's been really good. I just want and see what happens in the next coming weeks going into SummerSlam.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's not a whole lot I could touch on that. Io is obviously outnumbered. And Liv did name drop Stephanie Bakor. She's been away from TV for a while. I don't think we see Stephanie probably on TV before SummerSlam, but I do think Stephanie could be an X factor for Io in that match. I do think because Liv took the title from her, so I think that is enough incentive. And Stephanie took the title from Io. So if you're doing long-term storytelling, I do believe that Stephanie's is gonna be the one to come to Io's aid on that. So we'll see.
I will say that if that's the triple threat match at WrestlePalooza, or if I did that, then I really prefer that match than what we saw last year between Io, Rhea, and Naomi, honestly, because I didn't care for that match. I will love this match if it happens in September or whatever it happens.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a triple threat at all. I think Stephanie may come out and, like, when Judgment Day tries to interfere, Stephanie may come out and, like, try to help Io, to try to fend off Judgment Day so that Io can win the title. That's kind of where I think they're going with it, because Liv did name drop Stephanie, so it's very possible that's the direction they could go. So we have a comment from Ariel. If you want to answer it, you can. If not, I will. It says, well, if we have Seth and Roman again, which champion Oba will eventually choose? Do you want to answer that?
The only title that would make the most sense is Sami Zayn, but who is clamorous to see Sami Zayn and Oba Femi. That's not a SummerSlam match. But if they do a multi-man match involving Cody Rhodes and or one other person that I'm not really thinking of, then fine. But I don't know that. But that would make the most sense at this point, because they're clearly not gonna change their mind with Reigns and Rollins. So it's I don't know. We got.
I think Oba is not going to fool around with SmackDown. I'm just going to be honest with you. Netflix is not letting Oba go. They're paying way too much money. So when after Roman beat Seth at SummerSlam, Oba Femi is going to be the one when Roman does drop the title, which I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I do believe that the title that Oba will eventually target will be the Raw Heavyweight Championship. So, but it's going to be a long time. I think by that time, it'll be fucking time for him to win the Rumble or something. It'll be, unless they do a match at like Survivor Series or something. But I doubt it. I don't think Oba. I honestly can't see Oba even getting a title match until WrestleMania. And then there's heavy rumors that The Rock's going to show up and wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So maybe they do Roman and Oba at Survivor Series, but we'll see. I don't think he's messing with Cody. I damn sure don't think he's messing with Sami Zayn. Maybe he gets involved. Maybe he could get involved with Cody or Punk after, but I think there's just way too many people on that show already that can be intertwined in that storyline. So eventually when Obi gets the main world title shot, it's going to be against Roman Reigns. So, all right. So we take a look at why we're getting Jimmy and LA Knight again, which happened last week. LA Knight was victorious last week. LA Knight makes his way down to the ring against Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso is accompanied to the ring by Jey Uso. Gonna get to the end here. Michael Cole said Jimmy Uso hurt himself in the middle of the match. This is just, I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this because we just saw this shit last week. But Solo Sikoa, well, Jimmy Uso takes advantage of the situation and Jey Uso gets on the apron, but LA Knight knocks him off the apron. Jimmy Uso then takes advantage of the situation and rolls up LA Knight for the win. And he gets the 1, 2, 3. Jimmy Uso gets the 1, 2, 3 on LA Knight. Obviously, if you watched Raw last week, you saw that LA Knight got the win. But then the weirdest shit happened is Solo Sikoa comes out of nowhere and hits the Samoan spike to, I don't remember if it was Jay or Jimmy, but LA Knight had a weird look on his face. Yeah, that was just, I don't know. For me, that was really weird. Like I said, after the match, Knight punches Jimmy Uso. Jey Uso then gets a double leg takedown. He punches LA Knight. Jey Uso then hits more punches, and then Solo Sikoa shows up and he hits Jimmy with the Samoan spike. He hits him with a Samoan spike and leaves through the crowd before Jay can do anything. LA Knight then hits a BFT to Jey Uso, and then Knight sees Solo Sikoa in the crowd. What the hell is going on here with this?
I don't know. I feel like it's just a nice thing, just being with the blowout every single 5 minutes, no matter which bird he's on. So it's like you can't get away from him. So it's like it is what it is. He's just gonna be connected with the bloodline for the rest of his career, pretty much at this point. That's what it feels like.
I mean, am I crazy or am I just really crazy? But does it really look like, for me, it looks like we're getting LA Knight and Solo Sikoa against Jimmy and Jey Uso at SummerSlam? I mean, I didn't have that on my
radar. I didn't either, but I also didn't see the fact that they had Solo doing having all his friends gone in this, like, I didn't see that coming, and then they're so desperate he has to show up on Raw. It's like, really? So I mean, well, if that's the plan, then I mean, that's just I don't know. Jey Uso saying he's gonna go after basically to be the world champion again. Really, based on what he's been doing with LA Knight within the last few weeks or last month or two.
Oh
please live in Fantasyland.
He'll be lucky if he gets a singles match or a tag match with LA Knight and Solo, because I think Solo may have gotten involved in the Cody J match. I don't know. I didn't see all that. I just saw that Cody won by Cody beat him with the crossroads, so he did pin him. So yeah, I don't have anything else to say about that. His storyline's been going on for like 9 months. We take a look at the confrontation between Gunther and Nick Aldis after Night of Champions. Michael Cole says Nick Aldis and Gunther have been sent home. Michael Cole then says Nick Aldis is on administrative leave, so Adam Pearce will be running both shows. Any thoughts on this? We kind of touched on it. I kind of feel like it, same thing.
Not really.
I think we're getting Nick Aldis and Gunther at SummerSlam. I think that's where we're going with it.
Sure. I mean,
yeah,
another GM going after a active wrestler, so whatever. Doesn't interest me.
Yeah, well, yeah, they got to have Gunther finally win a match. So yeah, there's that. So we see Jackie Redmond with Rey Mysterio. Jackie asked about Ethan Page's comments. Rey said one of the many challenges of being a Hall of Famer is being able to stay ready. Rey then says Ethan will respect Lucha Libre. Jackie then asked about Rey being at SummerSlam. Rey then asked the fans if they want to see him at SummerSlam for a record 12th time. Ray then says he faced Penta before and he would do what it takes to get another shot. What the fuck? At that title. Jackie then asked what would it take to beat Penta. Ray says he loves and respects Penta. Ray then says he knows what it takes to win, and if they get in the ring one more time, Ray then says he cannot give away his strategy. What in the hell was that, bro? Are we getting Rey Mysterio, Penta, and Chad Gable in a triple threat at SummerSlam? That's what it sounds like. From that
yeah. Yeah, I mean, kind of make the most sense. They've been interacting with each other throughout the last few weeks, and Chad has been saying he wants to be the champion at some point soon. That's what he wants. So, and that's what he's been chasing after. But and he's been interacting with the luchadors ever since he came back as Chad Gable. So, I mean, that's what makes sense for it to be a triple threat match. We're gonna get a few multi-man matches of SummerSlam. Looks like not the time I've been saying triple threat matches lately throughout this entire show. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, for me, man, to be honest with you, I think that they could put Ray in there and then just have they could keep Penta strong. Obviously, Penta's been one hell of an Intercontinental champion, one of the best champions on the roster, if not the best champion on the roster. They could have Chad Gable beat Ray without Penta taking the pin. So I think that's a great idea. And from that promo, because I didn't see that, because like I said, some commercials I don't see. So I have to get it from notes. But yeah, looking like a triple threat. So we see Jimmy Uso and Jay, and they find Jacob Fatu, and they ask where he was. Jacob says he only takes orders from Roman Reigns. I think that's probably about the 10th time we've heard that. Jacob then says he got orders from Roman. Jacob then says he is going to SmackDown to finish Solo Sikoa. Jey Uso then says he's going to SmackDown too. Jey Uso then says he is going to challenge Sami Zayn and bring the gold back to the bloodline. Your thoughts on that? You have anything to say about Jay going to SmackDown to bring that title back? And Cody was talking mad shit to Jay about him telling Sammy on SmackDown on the taping that he was only there to win the title so he could bring it back to Roman.
I just feel like that with Jay, we've been there, done that. Just not the credit. It's the experiment of Jey Uso as a world champion is over with. I decided to keep on having him part of this. It's part of the world title scene. It's really pretty laughable at this point to me. And I just been there, done that with Jey Uso. He could be doing something different. Maybe he should go out there and see the secondary championships again. Should go out to the IC championship again. Go after the US champion over SmackDown. I don't know at this point, but go after the world title.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's the thing before we move on to the Lyra promo. A lot of people on X and a lot of content creators were saying, "Oh, we're gonna get Jay and Cody at SummerSlam." Cody Rhodes beats Jey Uso on SmackDown in 8 minutes with the Crossroads. So and that's the second time that Cody's beat Jay. So did you want to see that at SummerSlam? Cody beat Jay in 8 minutes? Because that's what happened on SmackDown.
I mean, it just seems like that's going to probably be the end goal. I hope not, but just the way they've been talking, the way they've been saying, the way that Jay's been saying it and going into King in the ring, saying he's going to defeat Cody Rhodes, all this stuff, be WWE champion and everything like that. It's like, yeah, sure, but it's like, but if that doesn't happen, what do you do with Jey Uso? I guess because he's still.
Well, you put him in you put him in the storyline with LA Knight and Solo and Jimmy. He needs to go back to the tag team division because he's not. I mean, he's got a better chance of. He's not beating Cody Rhodes. I mean, let's be real here. I know Sammy won, but that was a fluke. And Cody's already beat him. He beat him again on SmackDown. I have a better chance of walking out my front yard and finding a money tree. So let's just move on from the Jay Cody shit, because that's just another bloodline member that Cody beat. So we'll just leave it at that. So Lyra Valkyria cuts a promo and she asks why is everyone on her back about what happened in London. Lyra then says it takes two to lose a tag match. Lyra then says she doesn't like that the anger got to her. Lyra then says it was one time and people forget she has been the bigger person for over a year. Lyra then says she has not lost any sleep over it. Lyra then says she has sacrificed her success because she wanted Bayley with her. Lyra then says they know she can do it. Lyra then says she put her trust in someone who was supposed to be the best, but now there is a gap between who she is and who she could be. Lyra then says she never wanted to hurt Bayley, but it felt so good to close that gap. What a promo from Lyra! I honestly thought. So what did you think about that promo from Lyra?
Yeah, it's one of Lyra's better promos that I've heard from her. She's more, she's really comfortable as a heel. I didn't know how she would be as a heel, but I enjoyed it. It was something that was desperately needed for her character. This feud is with Bayley is definitely what she needed coming off of not doing anything incredibly interesting off of the Becky feud. And they're still, and with her probably never ever be tag team champion, which is fine by me because those titles don't really mean anything. It will be a good thing for Lyra to show what she can do as a character and give her more promos having the reign. So maybe it'll see what she can do as a promo. As a promo, as a talker, instead of just being a wrestler. Because we know she's such a ring, but it was just her weakness was promo segments and video packages and stuff like that. So maybe this may survive and last for a little bit.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I think the heel character is great for Lyra. Look forward to seeing how it progresses. Look forward to seeing a heel Lyra versus a face Bayley, a heel Lyra versus a face Soul. So I think that's where we're headed. All right, so we then see Maxine Dupree walking past Chad Gable. She walks past him and then she comes back like she was having second thoughts. She says she meant every word she said last week. Maxine Dupree then apologizes for how she handled it. Chad Gable then says Maxine Dupree doesn't owe her forgiveness and wants her to focus on her match tonight. Chad Gable then wishes her good luck. So it looks like Maxine is having some difficulties deciding whether she wants to trust Chad Gable or not. Any thoughts on that?
It's just she decided to not have him involved. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago, and yet she's being confronted by him still. They're still playing that angle. I don't really understand. I don't get that, but yeah, I feel like it's just, to me, just move. I think Maxie should just move on to not be a part of Alpha Academy at this point. It was even Gable at this point. It's beneath Gable, really, but whatever they're doing with Maxine, it's not interesting. It's not working. It's just not for me right now. I don't really fully care at the moment what Maxine is doing. It's not really all that interesting right now to me anymore. Kind of lost interest after the Becky feud. So
I agree. Appreciate that. So Raquel makes her way down to the ring for the next match of the night. It's the #1 contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship held by Sol Ruca. She's facing Maxine Dupree. Match was okay. At the end of the match, Maxine takes Raquel out with a spinning heel kick. She follows up with a leg drop to the back of Rodriguez's neck. Maxine then goes for a fisherman suplex, but Raquel hits her with the Tejana bomb for the 1, 2, 3. So Raquel picks up the victory there. Your thoughts on the match? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And are you looking forward to Raquel and Sol, which could happen on Raw, but I don't think so. I think we're pretty close. We're only 2 weeks away or so from Saturday Night Main Event, so maybe they could hold it off I'm gonna do Raquel and Soul at Saturday Night's Main Event since Soul wasn't on the card at Night of Champions.
I mean, the match wasn't really all that interesting, or it didn't really fully matter. I think Raquel was going to win anyway, and so they want to do Raquel and Soul, and that's fine. It gives Soul something to do, because Soul's kind of like in the same scenario where Liv is honestly holding a championship and not doing anything incredibly with it, and it makes it worse. Soul's really not on TV. At least Liv's on TV every week. Soul's there, but then she disappears for weeks, and it's like that's not a good thing either. So maybe if Raquel does, if that match does happen at Saturday's main event. Sorry, I feel bad saying this, but I feel like they probably put the title on Raquel because they view Raquel more than Soul, whose character's still not developed because he's still super new. So, and it doesn't, and you're new and you don't have any credible interesting opponents at all. After you win his title from Becky, the IC title from Becky, what is he doing? A whole lot of nothing in terms of yeah. I was repeating myself at this point, but it's just pretty sad and not what I thought this was going to go with her. So,
I agree. I mean, the match wasn't great. It was very obvious Raquel was winning. They could make up for Raquel not making it super far in the Queen of the Ring tournament. I still think they're really high on Soul. I think she needs to be on TV more. I personally don't think Soul drops the title before SummerSlam, but she could. Because Triple H and them, they do love Raquel and Judgment Day, so we'll see. Hopefully, we get to see that at Saturday Night's Main Event. So we see Danhausen. Go ahead.
I was just thinking not to seem. I'm not gonna say it seems odd, but I just feel like it's just. That'll be interesting because even though I'm not really all that excited or thrilled to see a Liv Raquel feud, they've been there the longest. They've been friends the longest, and you would think they were gonna end up facing each other for the championship. But if they're gonna put the IC title on Raquel instead, then gets me excited for the hope of Roxanne and Liv at some point. Or yeah, I mean, I'm not Liv. I meant to say Roxanne and Soul. That's also something I actually do want to see too. Actually, that they haven't really done yet in terms of. I haven't even done on NXT. I don't think they've ever been. I don't think they ever really interacted on NXT. So. Yeah, so I feel like that's something I can get behind too if they want to hold off even longer with Roxanne and Liv. So I actually rather see that honestly than Raquel and Soul actually. So I mean, the more time we get to see Roxanne, the better. Honestly, instead of her just playing cheerleader and just doing backstage segments and not wrestling or even and even cutting promos. Even we don't see her because she's been completely silent lately. This is why I didn't want her in Judgment Day in the first place when she got called up last year. This is why I kind of feared, and she's not doing it, and here she is not really doing anything incredibly interesting. And it's like, what are we doing, Roxanne again? You said so many times about Roxanne's lost record of how she's lost so many matches and not really won anything, and it's even worse. It's not only it's bad enough she's not winning matches. It's even worse when she's just doing backstage segments and not doing anything in the ring. So I want to see her to do with Roxanne, but this is.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, she's taken the most pinfall losses since being on the main roster, and WWE is doing a terrible job right now of having a bunch of cheerleaders. So, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see where we go. So we see Danhausen return to his lab and he looks for a stolen gift. Liv Morgan, again, she enters and laughs. She says, "This is what Danhausen deserves." Danhausen then asks, what did she do? Liv then reminds Danhausen, and she tells him to make it right or they will make his life a living hell. Any thoughts on that? The Dominic stole some shit from Danhausen. I don't know. I'm over it. I'm over it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, again, like I said before, like I said earlier, Liv should not be a part of this at all. This is such a comedy act, and she is so beneath this. She already done the comedy act with the Riot Squad. Been there, done that with Liv. It was fun then, but she outgrown that, outgrown that now, and she should be. If she's again, she's the champion, and she's messing around with this again. I don't know why Judgment Day still exists. I said this weeks ago. I said this like a whole month ago. That Judgment Day is dead. Let it move on. Can we focus on Liv and Roxanne and Raquel as them being a trio and them ultimately breaking up at some point? Can we focus on them three and leave JD and Dominic and put them away to the side because they don't matter? It's wasting the women here, and it's not good because all three are great and one of them is the freaking world champion. Ugh.
Yep. I agree. All right, so we're going to move on to the next match. And in my opinion, it was the best technical wrestling match on Raw. Chad Gable going one-on-one with JD McDonough. I'll pick up at the action close to the end. Chad Gable heads to the top rope, but Dominic gets on the apron to cause a distraction. JD McDonough then hits another Spanish fly for a count of 2. And then we see Danhausen again for the 5th time tonight at ringside. And Dominic is running after Danhausen. Back in the ring, Chad Gable rolls through and applies an ankle lock, and JD McDonough taps out. So now Chad Gable is being assisted in a win by Danhausen. After the match, though, Dominic and JD McDonough go to the briefcase that Danhausen brought to ringside. They open it up, and powder goes off. Danhausen then takes back his Knicks jersey from Dominic, and he leaves. Raquel Rodriguez then ambushes Danhausen on the stage, like she knocked him down, and she gets the jersey back. She tells Dominic, "I got the jersey back." She clotheslined Danhausen. So man, I don't have any words for this shit. Like,
yeah, I mean, again, I said earlier how I feel about it. And I think, again, Liv needs to get away from this. Roxanne needs to get away from this. Raquel needs to get away from this and do their own thing. They're perfectly capable of telling us a story of the three of them, or the three of them, whether them doing more teases with each other, or the three of them going after the baby faces that are left over on Raw at this point. So I think they would tell a better story than the Judgment Day Vortex stuff. They all three of them need to move on from that group now, almost like it was very soon.
Yeah, like yesterday. I agree. So the next segment, we see Maxine Dupree backstage, and so she's obviously back there nursing her wounds after her 6-minute match with Raquel Rodriguez. And then we get Austin Theory. So we kind of talked about this earlier. We've been seeing Maxine backstage a lot with Austin Theory. She even defended him to Otis and Tozawa. This storyline's been going on for a way damn too long, in my opinion. But Austin Theory comes in there, and so Austin Theory says that he wants to know what's going on. Like, basically, why are you, talking to Chad Gable? And so Austin Theory walks up to her and he asks her, what was that? And Maxine says she thought she was ready for Raquel. Austin Theory then says he's talking about what she said to Chad Gable. Maxine then says Chad Gable is complicated. Austin Theory then says if she wants to go back down the road, maybe this isn't going to work out, like they're in a relationship or something. Obviously, Maxine's married, but I think that she thought that he's referring to her, being a part of the vision. And then he walks off. Otis and Tozawa walk up to Dupree, but then she leaves. It's been a rough night for Maxine. So your thoughts on that before we get to the main event segment? It just really seems like Maxine just it's kind of torn. It seems like she's torn in the middle. Like she wants to be with Austin Theory in the Vision, but then the baby face in her wants to forgive Gable. So are we going to get a payoff, or is this shit going to go on for 6 more months? You there? I think Kyle might have lost sound. Not sure. So, like I said, for me, I feel like it's probably just a she just can't make up her mind. And so I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, we get a payoff from this soon. And Maxine Dupree can make up her mind whether she wants to join the Vision or if she's going to accept Chad Gable's apology and stick with Otis and Tozawa. So we'll get to the main event part of the segment. Dirty World Champion Roman Reigns and makes his way down to the ring. He is accompanied by Jacob Fatu. Loud chants by the fans saying OTC. Roman Reigns grabs a mic and starts off by asking Atlantic City to acknowledge him. They do. Before Roman Reigns can say anything else, we get Seth Rollins' music hit. He makes his way down to the ring. Both men then stand across from each other in the ring. They continue to stare at each other. The fans are going ape shit. They then stare even more. Seth Rollins then says, "Hello, my brother," to Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins then said, 14 years ago, 14 years, you and I have been tied together from this moment all the way back to the formation of the Shield. Seth Rollins then says, you call it fate or destiny, but it feels very fitting that they are in this moment in Atlantic City. Seth Rollins then says, you are in possession of a title that belongs to me. Seth Rollins then says, it's time to collect. Roman Reigns then gets on the mic and he tells Seth Rollins to get back in line, and he hasn't done anything of late to earn a shot at his World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins then says when it comes to Roman Reigns, he is always at the front of the line. Seth Rollins then says Roman Reigns owes him. Seth Rollins then says he's on Roman Reigns for what he's owed Roman Reigns for what he's on Roman Reigns for what he has become. Seth Rollins reminds Roman Reigns that he stole his wise man at WrestleMania 42. Seth Rollins then says he helped Cody Rhodes end Roman Reigns' reign of terror at WrestleMania 40. Seth Rollins then says Reigns beat everybody in his 4-year reign except for one person. Seth Rollins then reminds Reigns of the greatest cash-in the history of WWE. Seth Rollins then says he has owned Roman Reigns since he turned his back on the Shield. Seth Rollins then says he is here to give Reigns something. Seth Rollins then says Roman Reigns has done it all. Seth Rollins then calls Roman Reigns great. Seth Rollins then says Roman Reigns has never beat him. Seth Rollins then says this may be the last chance to close that door. Seth Rollins then says he and Roman Reigns created the greatest generation in the history of WWE. Seth Rollins then says they both did that together. Seth then says he admits they're much closer to the end than the beginning. Seth then says Roman Reigns is a shoe-in for a WWE Hall of Famer. Seth then says if Reigns never accepts his challenge, he will never be able to escape the ghost of Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns then says it's been a long time since he has heard any truth come out of Rollins' mouth. Roman then says Seth Rollins is actually right. Roman Reigns then says he doesn't want to beat Rollins, he needs to beat him. Roman Reigns then says he needs his entire family witnessing him beating Rollins. Roman then accepts the challenge for SummerSlam, and then he calls him little brother or big brother. Roman Reigns drops the mic, raises the World Heavyweight Championship while Seth Rollins stares a dagger at Roman Reigns as the show comes to a close. So that is it, guys. Kyle, I think your microphone's messed up. I'm not sure. Do you have any thoughts on the last segment with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins? I do believe Kyle's thing has his speaker has went out. Yep, there we went. So that is it, guys, for the Wwe Raw Recap on Monday. I don't even know what day it is. I believe it's the 29th. Yeah, Monday, June 29th. Thanks again to Kyle the Man Anthony for joining me here tonight. I believe he has some technical difficulties here at the end. I'm sure I'm not sure. Maybe it's a technical issue on the computer. But shout out to Kyle for coming in for the Raw Recap. Also Raymond, Stampede, and also Ariel as well. Before I go to my outro and tell you guys where you can find me on my socials. Let's see. Okay. So before I go to my socials, my outro on my socials, we are live here on the EVP show. Please make sure if you are, or if you did watch this stream live on YouTube, please hit that like button. I have picked up a few new subscribers, so thank you guys to that. I'm slowly but surely making my way to 300 subscribers, and that's great. I'm almost halfway to 500, so we are trucking right along. We're also live on my X page and DWE Television X page. So give DWE Television page on X a follow. And you can find everybody affiliated with DWE. Obviously, Miami the Great 305, who will be live tomorrow with 6 p.m. Eastern with Inside the Mind as we get ready 10 plus weeks until NFL season. And then me and him will be back for the NFL recap show. Also, his co-host, Final Boss Baby with 2 B's. You can catch them on every Saturday on DW Radio, on the DW Television X page, Talk It Up podcast on YouTube. Make sure you follow both of them and subscribe to Talk It Up podcast on YouTube. And you can listen to DW Radio on DW Television, on the Talk It Up podcast on Twitch. You can find them on Twitch at DW TV and DW Television on Twitch, also on Spotify. My co-host tonight, Kyle the Man Anthony, had some technical difficulties at the end, but him and the World of Greg was live an hour before Raw. Every Monday night, an hour before Raw, you can catch Kyle the Man Anthony and the World of Greg as they give you the rundown of what's going to happen on Monday Night Raw. So make sure you follow both of them. Kyle the Man Anthony also has a show coming up this Wednesday. It's episode 3 of Queens of WWE, where he will be going over everything that happened at Night of Champions with the women's division, at NXT Great American Bash, and what happened on SmackDown and Raw, and everything that's affiliated with the women's division. Also, give Director Reg a follow. After Slam Podcast on X, give him a subscription on YouTube. Big shout out to After Slam Podcast for hitting the 5,000 subscriber mark. Does excellent work. If you guys haven't tuned in to him on YouTube, make sure that you do, because he does great work. And congrats for the 5,000 subscribers. That's one hell of an achievement. Also, Smoke Session Podcast, as well as Sports Jedi Network. Everyone affiliated with Gimmick Table Media as well. With that being said, guys, I am going to go to my outro, and then I will be back to tell you guys where you can find me on my socials and what I have coming up for you guys for the rest of this week.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recap Prediction Sports. Let go, Show Recap Prediction Sports
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recap Prediction Sports. Let go.
All right, guys. Once again, thank you for tuning in to. Okay, I think Kyle may be back. Are you back, Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay, good, awesome. I know you have some. I know you're having some technical difficulties. Once again, thank you to the 177 people that have watched live. Thank you to Kyle for coming on for the Raw recap. Before I go to my socials and what I have coming up for the rest of the week, I'm going to hand it over to Kyle and let him tell you where all you lovely people can find him on socials and what he has coming up for the rest of this week.
Well, so you can follow me on Twitter at Kyle Rochelle 96, Instagram Kyle Anthony on Instagram. And then what I have coming up, I have on Wednesday, you can find the Queens of WWE episode 3. It'd be talk about everything that happened and everything with the Great American Bash, Queen of the Reign, and stuff that happened tonight on Raw, and then whatever's going to happen tomorrow on NXT. So it's going to be a packed show involving everything that happened with the women's division. So good, get prepared for that on Wednesday.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Thank you again for coming in and helping me co-host the Raw Recap. As far as my stuff goes, you can find me on my socials. It is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Once again, if you are watching live on YouTube, please hit that like button. It helps me out, helps my channel out, helps my YouTube channel get in the algorithm. You can find me on X at EVP2JP. My YouTube is pinned all the way at the top. So if you do enjoy my wrestling content, share it with your friends. On Instagram, you can find me EVP2JP as well. It's a business account, but I always post the videos Miami and Greg make for my upcoming streams. It is a business account, like I said, but my YouTube link is pinned in my bio. TikTok, same thing. Posting the videos for the upcoming streams. You'll see them later on tonight for the upcoming stream tomorrow for NXT. But you can find me on TikTok at BradyTheGoat21. Most importantly, last but not least, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I did pick up 3 or 4 new subscribers in the last 2 days, so thank you guys for that. I'm almost to, and I just hit my 1,000 live video mark last night. So I'm at 1,001 live videos here on the EVP show. If you can't find my YouTube channel on any of the social media platforms, go to the search bar and type in at the EVP show. And if you are subscribed, turn the notification bell on and join me you will be notified. So come join me for all my daily wrestling content. What I have coming up for the rest of the week, tomorrow night, I'm back at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time for your NXT recap. Wednesday, I'm off. Thursday, catch me at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for your TNA recap show. Friday night, we're back to 2 hours on SmackDown. So new start time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Friday night for SmackDown recap. Saturday, I'm off. And then Sunday, we're back to doubleheader Sunday. You can catch me live starting at 6 p.m. Eastern for Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP. And then come back later on Sunday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for LFG Season 3, Episode 11 recap shows. We have about 3 to 4 more episodes of LFG left. With that being said, guys, signing off for my co-host, Kyle the Man Anthony. I am the EVP from the EVP show and the golden boy of DWE. And DWE is the only place to be. So hopefully, guys, enjoy your Tuesday and come back and join me tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern for your NXT recap. Good night, everyone.